Well, this is going to be a relatively short first impression video of One Piece Romance Dawn, which just came out in the States today, but I guess it's been out in Europe since November, so we're getting it months later. To start with, since I didn't get the collector's edition, I just got regular edition. I've opened it up and noticed there's no instruction manual. I mean, I realize in this day and age you really don't need an instruction manual with in-game tutorials, but it's sort of disappointing not to have one. And I've only gotten about 2 hours in, so I can't talk about too much in the game. But I will say the intro is very, very slow. Like, it tries to recreate all the scenes from when Luffy was a kid bugging Shanks about how he wanted to be a pirate and everything. And Shanks losing his arm, and Luffy getting the fight with those bandits. It's just very, very long. I swear, the 2 hours I spent with this game, I spent about half an hour just going through the intro. Though speaking of the intro, it also feels very lazy in terms of graphics as well. Most of the cutscenes seem to be composed of just stills from the show, then having a face portrait of the characters, and then the show that's talking, they have it shake back and forth. There is some talking in the intro, but this only comes from Gold D. Roger, despite the fact that King calls him Gold Roger. I guess they want it to be a secret in the US release, or whatever, about the power of D or mystery of D. I don't really care. This game is in the early story arc, so I guess that shouldn't be too surprising. Or at least it starts out with the early story arcs. I don't know how far it goes yet. Though the game does throw a few curveballs with a few animated cutscenes in there. Or at least I had one at the end of the intro where Luffy punches the guard of the seacoast or whatever. And I've only gotten through one of the bosses so far. But the game seems just bogged down with providing the player too much information, to be honest. I mean, I guess if you're not a fan of One Piece, it's nice. Because it means it's because they're giving you a lot of the story and character moments. So you can at least better understand how Zoro and Luffy and all of them operate. But at the same time, if you're familiar with the license, which you probably would be if you're buying this game in the first place, it just bores the crap out of you. Now, I'm not even particularly familiar with the license outside of watching a bunch of AMVs and stuff on YouTube, and it bores the crap out of me reading so much text. Especially since it's not very presentable, because it's like, you're just going to go with a still image and then face portraits. Might as well just go with a full body face portrait or like Disgaea or something. And I like that game. And I'm criticizing this game for doing the same thing, only lazier. On the combat side of things, the combat's turn-based, but it's also got a speed aspect to it, I guess. Well, I don't know how speed-based it is. I mean, basically you have a wait time, and your characters usually go first. But if you move past... Okay, when you're on the battlefield, there's going to be a yellow line, well, yellow circle, and a red circle. If you stay within the yellow circle, you take no penalties to when your next turn will be. Which means you'll get put at the bottom of the order, but you'll be able to get back there without having the enemies get a second attack in before you get a chance to attack again. You also don't take any AP subtractions either, because you have to use action points to attack your enemies. When it comes to, if you move past the yellow circle, you take a time penalty of 10%. And if you move past the red circle, you take a time penalty of 20%, and you give up 25% of your AP, which is 1 right now, at least for early on in the game, because you only get 4 AP per turn. You can stack them up, but I don't know how much it helps you. I guess the game just assumes you're going to have to move well past yellow and red lines a lot of the times, because enemies will get... A lot of your attacks will knock enemies, just sending them flying well beyond your reach, and a lot of enemies also have long-distance weapons and will move readily out of your reach just so you have to go chase them. Well, I should say reach of the circles where you don't have to take a penalty for it. I'll also say the damage doesn't always make sense. Like if you get hit with bombs, it'll show 2 damages, and I'm like, I don't understand it. Like, is it trying to say I took so much normal damage and then took fire damage also? Or if I get shot by a gun, it shows blue damage. So is it saying I got hit with a water pistol and I'm taking blue damage? Or I mean, water damage? And why don't the guns just use bullets anyway? In fact, when the Marines in the first area you get to start shooting their guns, it sort of looks like they're shooting salt packets or something at you. So, I don't know if the game's been censored, but it sort of feels like it. It also doesn't help that combat feels a bit boring and repetitive, since you're just going to keep using the same basic combo and maybe occasionally throw in your special attacks like the Gum Gum Pistol, or Gum Gum Whip is the second one you unlock at like level 4 or 3, I believe. So combat's sort of slow, repetitive. I guess if you like turn-based RPGs, it's sort of standard, but at the same time, it just seems to stand out even more because you gotta wait for the animations to go through. Another thing I noticed is the game's entirely in Japanese. There's no English dub, and there's no option to change to an English language if you prefer it. So you have to listen to the Japanese when it does play, which isn't that often, admittedly. I've also noticed that that your character starts with a heck of a lot of HP too. I mean, I guess it makes sense in a way because you aren't guaranteed to necessarily get healing items early on, so it makes sense to give you the advantage HP wise over your enemies by quite a lot. Another thing I've noticed is that some of the equipable items will have a visible impact on your character, but a lot of them won't. Like, Luffy can get a backpack early on in the first area, I believe. Well, first dungeon, because the first area is entirely story stuff and has absolutely no combat. It isn't until you get to Captain Morgan that you see really any fighting when you run through the base, which takes forever because you gotta either wade through 10 minutes worth of narrative dialogue or just skip it with start, which might be advisable. Just skip the story stuff and try to move quickly as possible to the combat stuff, which isn't much less tedious, to be honest. All in all, I'd say the game's just sort of boring. I mean, don't get me wrong, I mean, turn-based RPGs are nice and all, but I don't know if One Piece really lends itself to an RPG, considering how often you have your epic one-on-one fights, like Luffy versus Crocodile, or Zoro versus number 1. Yeah, the guy that can turn his body into steel. Or Sanji versus Bon Clay. I mean, it's not a series that I think contributes itself very well to an RPG format. I mean, I had a similar complaint about the ROM 1/2 RPG, but it works better because it at least it captured the humor and stuff. The One Piece game just tries to shove the entire story down your throat, and it's just boring because it's not trying to tell a new story or just quickly work its way through the story, because you're probably going to be familiar with it. I'm not, but like I said, most people that pick this up probably are. That's what I have to say about this game. I mean, it's just tediously dull for the most part. I don't know if I'd really recommend this to anyone who isn't a fan of the One Piece manga or anime, and even then I'd have reservations in suggesting it, unless they're a die-hard core RPG fan. I mean, the main reason I picked this up because it's an RPG, but I sort of regret picking it up for the price I did, getting it new. Because I don't think it's worth $40 yet. Maybe the later chapters will prove themselves, but so far the combat's very slow. It especially doesn't help that since it has an SP system, where you can unlock, or I shouldn't say unlock, you can make your attacks more powerful. You can unlock new combo attacks, which is your basic technique, which means you start with the left hook and you have to unlock the right hook. And if you keep leveling up sufficiently, you can start interchanging your left and right hook attacks. Well, left and right punches. I don't even know why I have to work to unlock that. It doesn't make any sense. Oh, and before I forget, there is an item crafting system in this game. Not a particularly good item crafting system, in my opinion, since it seems like you have to find something that tells you what to do with your ingredients before you can use them, so you can't really experiment on your own. And you're not gonna probably. I've only found one item I can make in the first area, which allows me to make a bartender scarf using a washcloth from that one bartender that's always calling Shanks captain. All in all, like I said, if you're not a fan of One Piece, I'd just say skip it. And yeah, if you are a fan, I'd suggest waiting until the price comes down. There are just better games to spend your money on, like maybe Bravely Default. At least if Atticus gets to be trusted, it's a very good game. I guess I've rambled on enough at this point. Good hunting for you if you guys are out there looking for new games that are worth picking up.